What's going on, family? We are officially on the journey to 1 million subscribers, and my team and I are giving away $30,000 to help you pay off your consumer debt. That's right. 3E3 community members will each get $10,000 to wipe out their consumer debt. Now, do you want in? It's simple. All you have to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel and join my email list by going to anthonyoneal.com and clicking on the Join the Community tab. That's 100% it. Check this out. At 940,000 subscribers, we're surprising one lucky person live on my show with the first $10,000, and we're going to give that person a financial makeover before paying off their debt. So, before we get to today's show, hit that subscribe button and let's hit it 1 million strong before my birthday, July 1st. All right? Love you all. Let's get to the show. So are you all saying that there is a possibility that I can buy a home today and honestly come to the closing table without one dime out of my pocket if I negotiate right and if I'm in a negotiable city?
I got a client coming to the table in less than 30 days. I think their total cash to close was...
Pause. Pause.
That's real.
Pause. Does this mean that we're seeing more black people buying homes now?
Yes. Yes.
By 2054, people of color, right, will have 0 to negative net worth. So how is it a buyer's market if the interest rate is still right?
In every market, it is not always a buyer's market. So there is dynamic. But in places where you have the ability to negotiate, you can really win. Thing number one I would recommend, seek out.
Family, we back at it. I'm gonna get straight into it, man, because I'm gonna help some people. A snapshot came out, 2025, snapshot of race and home buying in America. This snapshot said that black home ownership rate, 45% of black home ownership rate has the largest annual increase among all races, but we're still lags behind other races. But it's like this year, we've seen, what does this mean? Like, what exactly, does this mean that we're seeing more black people buying homes now?
Yes.
Yes.
So while we're leading in first-time buyers at 49%, 45%, 72% of last year are still white people, right?
Yep.
45% black people, 63% Asians, 51% Hispanics, as far as in boom, but we're leading in first-time home buyers. What would y'all contribute that to?
I think it's a couple factors. So the 2025 snapshot in race and home buying in America comes out from the National Association of Realtors. It's looking at data from 2024.
Okay.
And what we've been here talking with you about a lot is all of the, between special purpose credit programs, other very aggressive loan programs that have been put in the street. It takes a little bit of time for the impact for those to be seen. So simply put, I feel like the access to different tools in terms of loan financing and education, and quite frankly, messaging, which I know is Keith's biggest, he's an expert, if I may say, of helping explain to people how you look at it and what is actually on the table for you to leverage and use.
Yeah.
The markets adjust and shift, which has happened nationwide because of what's going on with interest rates, just demand overall, a little financial uncertainty. That can create opportunity. When that's paired with some other really great financial products that are focused in majority minority neighborhoods, like we talked about last time, this is what you get.
What would you say, Keith?
Yeah.
Why? Because I love seeing this.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's letting me know that people are starting to get the message.
Yep.
That home ownership, when it comes to real estate, one of the main reasons why African Americans, our net worth is not up there is because of lack of home ownership.
Absolutely.
So now we're starting to see more African Americans, more black people become first-time home buyers.
Yeah. The cool thing about social media is that there are bad trends and then there are good trends.
Yes, sir.
90% of the wealthiest Americans get their wealth from real estate, right? I think to that specific statistic, Coalition Properties, we have a lot to do with that statistic because our messaging, being very boots on the ground with first-time home buyer programs, that's near and dear to our hearts.
Yeah.
So when you look at the first-time home buyer programs that are out there, First National Bank Home Ownership Plus, right? FHLB grant programs, a lot of those programs weren't easily, they weren't even known about. They weren't easily accessible.
Yeah.
Once we started talking about those programs and really running campaigns and ads around those specific programs,
Yeah.
we got a bunch of first-time home buyers that look like us to come and be involved with these programs and learn about them. Education is the key. When you have education, you have peace of mind.
Yes.
And if it's simple and easy, and that's the way we try to convey our messaging through these home buyer programs, just simple and easy, it's not fearful. Because we all know what is the number one reason we don't do things is because of fear.
Yes. Fear and just lack of education.
Yes, yes.
You know, and you guys, last month, I told you all every month I want to have Coalition Group on here. There's 3 of them as like 3 of the key partners. They have an amazing full team. But every single month we're going to have them on the show because I want to help us build our net worth. Because they're saying that by 2054, people of color, right, will have 0 to negative net worth. And so we're going to not be a part of that stat. And one of the best ways to make sure we're not a part of that stat, it is becoming a home owner. And so last month, man, we did a show and I mean, it went crazy. Over 100,000 views. It hasn't been a full 30 days yet. So we're going to link that show because we talked about different programs in that show, different programs that help all people. But, you know, y'all know me, specifically us. Hello. Us. How can we get into home ownership and not just home ownership as a first time buyer? What are some programs that help you get into it as an investor? That helps you build your net worth. But I want to talk about this, y'all, because I did a live and it got like 500,000 views on it. And studies are showing that home buyers are gaining leverage right now when it comes to buying homes. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not in the real estate space. This market is becoming a buyer's market and no longer a seller's market, right? There's still a high interest, but it's like if you can negotiate right,
yes,
you can really get into a sweet deal.
Absolutely.
So here's my question. 1, is that true? And 2, but I still got to pay a daggone 6.6% interest rate? So how is a buyer's market if the interest rate is still at a goddamn high rate?
Well, this is my favorite, one of my favorite topics.
Speak on.
If you were to bring me a property in 2021 when interest rate were 2%,
okay.
If you were to bring me a property during that time frame, I would tell you just add $50,000 to that sales price. That's going to be the starting price where we start at. $50,000 with a 2% interest rate.
Right.
You got more people in the market, right? More people in the market looking for homes, looking for those deals at that 2% interest rate.
Okay.
Now.
So wait, prime example.
Yeah.
Let's do math.
Yeah.
For the basic people. They came back to you in 2021.
Yep.
That's COVID.
That's COVID time. Yep.
You got a 2.2% interest rate.
Yes.
And they came to you and said, all right, your home is worth $100,000. You're saying you're going to list it and start it at $150,000?
That buyer would have to start the sales price at $150,000.
The buyer, not the seller.
Correct.
The buyer who wants to who's looking for a home.
Yep.
Based on competition.
That is so true because that happened with me and you.
Exactly. And you got to waive everything. So you got to come out the pocket. If it appraises for, let's use easy math, that 150 number.
Right.
If it appraises at 125, you got to come out of the pocket $25,000 to cover that cost because everybody's waiving appraisal.
Yes.
Everybody's waiving inspection. So there's some repair costs that you're going to have. So it's more economical and inexpensive for buyers to be in the market right now. And they have more opportunity to negotiate, right? If they get with the right realtor, they're going to have more opportunities to negotiate because the market is soft. When people saw the 6 to 6.5% interest rate, they got nervous.
Yeah.
But this is when you really want to be buying.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Even I bought a property at 7.3% interest rate for $750, but guess what? Nobody else came and appraised for $815 before I got to the closing table.
Real numbers.
Real numbers, right? I put 80 into it, now it's worth $1,050,000.
And you're 820 in it and it's worth $1 million something.
Yes.
And so, and is your game plan clearly to rent it out?
Oh, absolutely. I held it. Yep. And I haven't even refinanced yet.
You have not refinanced?
Nope. I'm cash flowing. I can hold it because I got it at a sweet deal. I got the equity play going as well. So I'm getting cash flow plus equity, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I wasn't fearful. I wasn't scared to take the risk. And I looked at the opportunity as, okay, people are scared. So let me get into this market because the media started portraying home buying as fearful. And once we see that, there's a lot of opportunities that becomes open to us, quite frankly.
Let's get some practical tips. Because with this being a buyer's market,
Yeah.
the key thing you gave me was power negotiating. What are 3 things you should negotiate in this market? So if I'm a buyer, right, and this is my first time buying,
Yep.
I'm a little nervous of the interest rate because I'm scared of the payment, but I want to buy. How are you all as my agent, as a single mother,
Yep.
who is, I make $100,000 in DC,
Yep.
and I can afford $5,000. I got approved by that, but I see a home that I like. What are the 3 things you're gonna say, okay, we need to negotiate this?
I'll give you first quick disclaimer that in every market, it is not always a buyer's market. So
Facts.
there is dynamic, but in
Got
places where you have the ability to negotiate, you can really win. Thing number 1 I would recommend, seek out closing costs from the seller over price reduction.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
Okay, wait, bro, come on back. Come on back, my guy.
Okay.
Closing price over what?
Closing costs
Closing costs,
over price reduction.
price reduction.
So
I got you.
Yeah.
So if the price is, breaking it down to the kindergarten level, if the price is, let's say again, $150,000, you're saying, I want you to, if we do a FHA loan, closing cost is 3.5%.
run that, yeah.
Right? You're saying instead of asking for the home to be at 125, you want them to say, I want you to pay for all my closing costs.
Yes.
Why is that a benefit to me?
Because the upfront costs you have outside of your down payment are pretty much sunken costs. You got to pay them either way. And the banks will allow you. Cool thing with FHA, you can actually go up in some cases as high as 7% in closing costs from the seller. When we're advising clients, we say, let's get to what the net price the seller wants. That's what we negotiate around. Once I know that net price, let's work with your lender and say, how much, what's the maximum amount of closing costs that we can get to your benefit? Because once that comes to you and you only have to worry about down payment, or if you're working on one of the other programs and you don't have to worry about down payment, that extra cash from the seller can go towards rate buy down, make that interest rate lower for a fixed period of time, for the entire life of the loan. So if I'm looking at a 6.5 rate out in the world, but I get 10 bands from a seller, my 6.5 can go down to 5.5, fixed for the life of my loan. Like that, and that's cost that is not coming out of the pocket of the buyer. So I think this concept of negotiating around net price and then knowing all of the different plays that you can run once you know what that net price is so powerful. Because some people get focused and say, no, I just want the price to be lower. I just want a lower price. I want to borrow less. And you say, think about this for a second. If my debt load can be a little bit higher, if I can tolerate that and I can get all of my other upfront expenses out of pocket, I got more cash to be able to cover my moving. I got more cash to be able to do some upgrades in the house later. So that's one of the biggest things I yell at folks, Anthony, is let's talk about net price that the seller wants, and then let's play and see how we can make these numbers work to your best benefit, because you didn't have that opportunity before.
I have a question about that. Please go, because y'all know me. When y'all come in, I'm just gonna ask. Because I'm thinking for the people. I'm not thinking for Anthony. I'm thinking for the people. And correct me, right? So are you all saying that there is a possibility that I can buy a home today and honestly come to the closing table without one dime out of my pocket if I negotiate right and if I'm in a negotiable city?
Double condition, I wouldn't say not a dime. You could minimize it to as low as a few $100s, and that's real.
I got a client coming to the table in less than 30 days. I think their total cash to close was $325.
Pause. Pause.
That's real.
Pause. I'm not a real estate agent, but I know math. You have down payment.
Yep. That's one.
And you have closing costs.
That's 2 buckets. Yep, separate.
So the 3.5% that I quoted is like, that's your down payment that FHA requires.
Correct.
So if I have $150,000, FHA required that I put down 3.5% of that $150,000.
Yes.
But I got to come also on top of the 3.5% with my closing costs.
Correct. Yep.
And what you're saying is that your client, if they bought a house, rough numbers, $150,000.
Yes.
Their seller gave them enough money that helped cover the majority of their 3.5%, to be an example, and some of their closing costs, to where they only have to bring $325 of their own money to the table to be a homeowner.
Correct. Absolutely. Yes.
How is that possible, bro?
Yeah.
The hell? I'm serious.
No, 1,000%.
Wow.
Yeah. So what's crazy, and this is why it's important to, look at different options. Look at all your options, right? The first quote that we got, it had him coming to the table with $16,000, right? So we said, let's pivot. Let's see what else is out there, right? You have the Maryland Mortgage Program, which gives you 3% of the loan amount to go towards your total cash to close, right? Also, Federal Home Loan Bank just dropped a grant program that can get you up to $20,000 and a grant money. You don't have to pay back grant money, right? So you take 3% of 400,000, whatever it is, like 12,000. All right, you take another 20,000 in grant money. That's $32,000 in closing costs that's being given to you. That subsidized your total cash to close by coming to the table, and that's why he's coming to the table with $325.
And AO, this works at different price points too.
Yeah.
We talking lower? I've got some folks now that were pursuing a condo that had been on the market for a while, so we knew we had leverage to negotiate. On a $700,000 purchase price, we got $33,000 in closing costs from the seller. That actually exceeded the maximum that they were able to get. So the play we ran was we're getting about $7,000 that we're putting towards their condo fees for 3 years. They will not pay condo fees for 3 years, and all of their closing costs is covered. They only have down payment for it. Like, those are the type of things that in
that situation, where you say, what cash are they bringing to the table?
Just because they are choosing to, at that price point, they needed to put 3% down because of their credit profile. So their cash out of pocket is around $21,000. But if they weren't getting the closing cost, their cash out of pocket would exceed 43, 44. So, yeah. And they just did that to get the monthly payment where they wanted it to be.
Now let me ask you this question. $1 million home sits there. $1 million home, FHA loan. Well, you can't do FHA million, right?
It's on location. And there's something called a high balance FHA with higher limits, but most of the time not.
So conventional loan is going to be about, 10 to 20%? No, 5% on conventional.
5%. Yep.
So if you do 5% of that, boom, boom, boom. If I'm selling a home as a seller, and this home's been sitting there for 3 months and it hasn't moved, can I come and say, you know what? I'll cover all your down payment and closing costs. Just get this house.
I wouldn't say down payment. I wouldn't say I can cover down payment. We can say depending on the zip code. Again, the majority minority census tract ones, there are options to do this with as little as 3% down, depending on zip code. And the seller could say, I will cover the other generally 3%. So you can say $30,000 on $1 million house. I can say we're offering $30,000 towards buyer's closing costs. And if I'm a smart listing agent, I say that's going to buy your interest rate down, whatever today's rate is. We can get you this house at a 1.5 lower than that. So if it's showing 5.5% rate on this, like that's how I would talk about it.
Yep.
All right, fam, let's have a heart to heart. You all know that I'm all about helping you get your money. But let me ask you this question. How's your credit report looking? And if you're being honest and you're saying, you know what, Ayo, I need some help, well, listen, I got something for you. Listen, I know credit can feel like this big, confusing thing, but with Kickoff, it doesn't have to be. They've designed a super simple, affordable way to help you build your credit, whether you're just starting out or need to bounce back from a rough patch. Here's how it works. Kickoff reports to the major credit bureaus to help you establish a positive credit history, and you can get started for as little as $5 a month. No credit check, no crazy interest fees at all, no hidden fees, just a straightforward way to improve your financial standing. And here's why it matters the most, because it is not just about a number, it is about financial freedom and doors opening up for you. Do you want that dream apartment? Do you want lower car insurance and even better job prospects? It all starts with making sure you have a good credit profile. So don't wait. Head over to anthonyoneal.com/kickoff. That's anthonyoneal.com/KIKOFF and start your first month for just as little as $1. Listen, it's anthonyoneal.com/kickoff, KIKOFF. You get it for $1. Let's get you some lower rates, especially in 2025. I think this is why a lot of us don't make good decisions, because we don't have the information.
Yeah, absolutely.
know what I'm saying? Like we don't know all the programs. Your guy come to the table with $300. That's a game changer.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? That's a game changer. Your guy, instead of spending 40-something thousand, he's only coming with 21,000.
Yeah.
That's the power of negotiating.
For sure.
And that's the power of having the right agents.
Absolutely.
Who can educate you on the process, teach you how to properly negotiate. So that was number one. I'm sorry. What was the other? You said you asked for 3. You got 2 more? Number 1 was a beast. You know what I'm saying? That's a beast.
Property condition, you were talking about like just negotiating repairs inside, which you weren't able to do before.
Yeah, so in the COVID market, like I told you before, adding $50,000 to the sales price, but also you got to waive inspection.
Yep.
So meaning if there's anything, you're taking that property as is. If there's anything that's wrong with that property, you're taking on the cost of what it would take to fix it up or repair it. Now, guess what? We're asking for credits to go towards those repairs, right? So the seller, if you want your house sold, Mr. Seller, if you want me to buy it, I need money to go towards these repairs. I'll get my own contractor to come fix it, but give me money to go towards these repairs. What does that do? Guess what? It lowers my out-of-pocket costs, number 1, right? It lowers my out-of-pocket costs. And then also what it does, it creates more opportunity for home buyer to go in that property with peace of mind, not having to worry about those repairs and having the money to do what they want to do to their discretion for the house.
I'm upset. No, I really am upset because the house I'm in right now, I had to waive all my inspection stuff. I paid $28,000 more.
You did. You still had a good agent though.
I had a real good agent. He did some negotiating because I don't even think we weren't supposed to get the home.
No, we wasn't. We wasn't.
There was somebody else that was supposed to get the home, but because he knew the seller's agent,
Got it done. Yeah.
he was able to get around the corner. Like, yo, my guy's ready. We can make a move right now.
Oh yeah.
And so it came down to 2 things. I won't put their business out there, but it's like. Kiva said, bro, if you want to do it, they need to know you are willing to do A, B, C. And one of them, I could put it out there. I had to buy it and let him sit there for like 4 months.
Yeah.
I think it was,
Yeah.
right? And so we let him sit there for 4 months. And they took some money off of the house to pay rent. Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. And I think the other person wasn't willing. He said, if you do this right now, this house is yours. I was like, bet. But the first week I moved in, had a huge water leak in my front yard.
Yep.
Massive. I had to cut all of my grass, fix that water thing. And when they had the inspection, our inspector said, yo, this house has had 3 homeowner insurance situations and it's around flooding.
Yep.
The week I moved in, had a flood.
Yep.
And I had to waive it. I was like, oh my gosh. But I have a dope contractor. He literally for 2 years, I gave him the inspector's paperwork.
Did all the things.
I said, hey, fix all this.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And for 2 years, Gary just came in. The first year, I was a little discouraged because I was like, man, I'm paying out all this money and I don't physically see anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I physically don't
Not the
see
sexy stuff.
Does it feel good?
No, it wasn't until year 2 I started feeling sexy. I was like, okay, I got a new kitchen. Yeah. Right. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I got new grass. Oh, okay. So I'm like, well, God darn. But then now I think Keith came back and Keith said, yeah, you got over $1 million home.
Yeah.
You know, we paid right at 6 something for it, 7 something for it. But I'm like, yeah, how much money I put in this? You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man.
But I mean, it's like, but I feel good knowing that I did it the right way.
Yeah.
Because
for
then
sure.
now I'll never sell this home. But let's say if I rent it out, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing in there that I have to fix.
Absolutely.
It's peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
And I have one of the most beautiful homes in my neighborhood. You know?
Absolutely.
I won't say what I really think because
I know what you really
my
think.
neighbors.
I know what you really think.
They be watching my show.
Yeah.
And I love them all, you know. That's why I said I have one of the most beautiful homes, if not the beautiful.
Say how you really feel.
That's how I really feel, but I love my neighbors. I love our community, all of them.
Oh, yeah.
People, man. But it's like, man, I think that that's important for us to really have that value. So I think that's important to know. So let's just stick with those 2 things because I think those 2 things are huge game changers.
Yeah.
negotiating and get more money to come towards the closing costs, which means less money out of your pocket, which if you're a good steward with that money, you would take that and go buy down your rate to a 5.9, which is not a bad interest rate in the market.
Yeah.
I think mine is at 4.3.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, okay, I can do 5.9 on that home. So I like that. Shoot, bro, I'm loving this.
When there's another concept, AO, too, he was talking about, what you're able to do to the home. I like to call it like peace equity.
Peace equity.
Like I'm able to, instead of having to make a really quick decision, jump into things where, and it's our job, even when we say waive an inspection and like buy a house completely as it is and waive things, you still get the information before, right? Like you have the information, you're just not able to leverage it to your benefit. In this market, when you do have that opportunity to negotiate, we ask for everything.
Absolutely.
So it's like an ebb and flow so far, where you were in a space where I get the information and I just suck it up and deal with it. Now you get the information, decide how much am I going to leverage this, knowing that most likely that seller is going to play ball. And if I send a list of 50 things I want, I'm not going to get all 50. I'm probably going to get like 35.
Yeah.
And that 35 is a lot less than the zero that you were able to get before. And just what that does for your peace of mind is very impactful.
And, peace equity, I like that word.
I like
you got to think about this too. We're talking a lot about cash. In a real estate transaction, for every $10,000 you go down on the sales price, you're only reducing your monthly payment by $50.
Say that one more time.
Yep.
What?
Yes. For every $10,000 you go down on the sales price or the loan amount, you're only reducing your monthly payment by $50, right? So we ask our clients, okay, let's use the easy math. If the property's 150, if you go down to 140, you're reducing your monthly payment by $50. But what if we kept the price at 150 and we asked for $10,000 in closing costs to go towards your closing costs? Would you take $10,000 or would you take the $50 a month? I'll take the $10,000 all day because you're gonna spend $50 at the bar on Friday.
What? How many?
So that's why we're talking about. Yeah. So
take to get that back in the same way.
Absolutely. And we talk about the waiving inspections. We always require our clients to do what you call a pre-inspection.
Okay.
So that means before offers are due, you do an inspection and you see. Pre-inspection is the same thing as a regular inspection. You get to see everything that's wrong with that property and you can decide if you want to put an offer in or not. Exactly. So they're not, we don't require, our clients, there's like zero requirement for them to go in blind. We don't require that.
We don't let it happen.
Absolutely. At least they get the information first to decide if they want to waive their inspection contingency, right? So then, and on that, my client that's bringing $300 to the closing table, he did a pre-inspection and he waived his inspection contingency, right? And guess what? He's coming to the table now with $300, and now generations to come are affected by $300.
300. How much does that pre-inspection normally cost?
Around $400.
And that's that'll vary per market. Like and also depends on how many things you get. For the most part, our clients choose something called a walk and talk, where you have the actual inspector with you. They got all their tools. They're showing you everything with their flashlight pointing it out, and you can decide if you want the written report or not.
Okay.
If I'm going to buy the home, if I get it later, run it back, give me the written report. If I just need the information to decide if I'm going to submit the offer in a week, and we help summarize it for them too and give them context around it, but it is a little bit less if you don't get the written report. If you get a regular written report, it's the same cost as an inspection, which 300 to like 800, depending on like all the stuff you get.
Oh, man, the math that y'all just broke down, didn't know that. So if I get the house go down my $20,000, it saves me $100 a month. But if I can get them to give me $10,000 cash up front towards the house to go towards my closing costs, what does it matter to save me $50 to $100 a month? Because if you do the math, like you said, let's say they give you $100, you save $100, that's $1,200 a year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You got $10,000 to go towards closing costs. It would take me 9 years to get to the $10,000 that I would have got up front.
Absolutely.
The math just makes sense.
Absolutely. I'm glad you broke it down like that.
It just makes sense to do that, right? And that's just the power, you guys, of really negotiating and really making sure you have powerful people inside of your, what's the word?
Your team, your brain trust.
Yes.
Brain trust.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, what are you doing? How are you doing it? Right? And so Man, I'm excited. I'm excited about us bringing these guys in. Listen, if you are in the DMV area, this is the best real estate group to partner with. You see the education that they're giving us here in 30 minutes. Just think about if you was doing life with them and purchasing something, you're going to get way more information. They have lenders at their disposal to where they can get you with the right lenders. They have inspectors where they can get you connected to the right inspectors. And what I like about them is they're respected by other real estate agents, right? And so if you walk into a home, me and Keith went inside this $2 million home, and he knew the realtor. And she was asking him like, yo, does he really want it? He was like, well, AO, we gotta make a deal.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? And she's like, well, okay. So it's like when you walk in and people are like, yo, they respect the real estate agent that you're with. It even helps you get to a quicker deal. You can know if this is for you, if it ain't for you. It just really makes things better, right? And so we're gonna drop all their information inside of today's show notes. So y'all, as we're closing out this segment, what are y'all most excited about right now when it comes to real estate?
I'm encouraged by people that take action when others retreat. Right? When you hear a lot of very loud noise about reasons that folks should retreat and stand on the sidelines, there are people that look at that in two different ways. Folks that say like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And again, if you got different financial situations, we are very sensitive to what's happening in the world and the jobs.
Facts.
Absolutely.
But if you're in a position, right, and you've got the resources, got some job security, got a future ahead of you where you're going to be in an ownership position securely for call it 5 to 7 year horizon, it would behoove you.
I like that word. Good job. I was waiting on that one.
To not take action right now. So I'm encouraged by people to do it, and those that take advantage of this circumstance right now to negotiate, extract better terms, they have the asset, and as long as I've got that asset now, no matter what happens with this future market, I've got more options by having the asset than wanting to try to acquire it when situations change in the future.
Yeah. I'm super excited. One of my favorite quotes, relationships will take you places money can't. And you said something. Yeah. You said something about doing life with clients, right? And we believe in that. Our mission statement is to be the bridge to our community for all things real estate, lifestyle, and wealth building. Because buyers are having, right now in the market, have the opportunity to leverage closing costs more than they've ever had, I'm excited about what they can take the money that they didn't use for their home purchase and what else they can do with that money. The second investment, the third investment, the fourth investment, right? To me, that speaks volume because think about this. There's opportunity that comes up once you buy your home and you can leverage your home for that second, third, fourth, fifth opportunity that wasn't even thought about because you didn't know it was possible until you got that first property. That's what I'm super excited to educate our clients about. How to use your money, how to leverage your property. And I'm sure we're going to be talking about that a lot. To me, that's the most exciting thing because that's where the real wealth building starts.
No. Y'all, next month, tune back in. The next show, let's talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
How do we leverage our money? How do we leverage the property that we currently have?
Absolutely.
To generate other properties and other income. I did a show with Morgan DeBond before you all. Dear sister, man. She's the owner of Blavity in Africa.
Super legit.
And she said, how are you using your spare money? She was like, are you using that to buy more assets? Are you using that to build wealth, or are you using it just to go buy luxury cars? And she was like, listen, we have nice things, right? She was like, but we use our access money, our spare money, different ways. Right? And so she was like, but we're even with that. And it was just really convicting to me. You know what I'm saying? Because she's like, yo, no, like, man, it was such a great show. But even after the show, she was challenging me on certain things for my own self. Like, hey, I heard you say this, but have you thought about that? If I didn't have a relationship with her, I would not have got that nugget. And that nugget, I literally text her and said, yo, thank you so much for that. You just changed my life in the next 10 years. Because you gave me the thought, you stretched me because of our relationship. Now that is going to make me millions down the road. But then two, no matter what you say, y'all, and this is why this stuff is so important, y'all, that y'all need to be subscribing to the channel. God daggone it. Because I've said this before and you said it. When average people see opposition, non-average people, wealthy people, we see opportunities.
Period.
So it's like, when people are freaking out and like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm asking the questions, how can I make this into an opportunity for me? Even though interest rates are high, even though the house may need a little bit of work, but I can get into it with the power of negotiating. I still got to put $100,000 into the home. How can I turn this into a good opportunity? And the only way we can know that is by getting the right people in our corner.
Yes.
And that's educating us.
Yes.
That can stretch us. Yeah, you're gonna spend 6.6% on this home.
Yeah.
For sure. And we probably will only get down to maybe 5% if Trump can get right. Right?
Yeah.
But if he doesn't, how do we still see this as an opportunity?
Yeah.
I've never met a millionaire who said, man, I ran and I only bought and did things when it was 100% comfortable.
Right.
Because if that was the case, all of us would be rich.
Yes.
All of us would be wealthy.
Yes.
All of us would be freaking homeowners.
Yes.
But it's like, no. Like now, bro, I just put about $200,000 into the studio.
Invest.
Yeah.
I haven't made $1
Yeah.
off of this studio.
Yeah.
And I pay a staff. But like, I see the vision.
Yes.
And when everyone else probably would have left and say, you know what, bump it, I'm gonna end this contract and be sued for non-payment.
Yes.
I'm like, now I'm gonna put some more money into it. Let me get the right people in here and let's open this up to the community to give them a Bentley service with a Mercedes C-Class expense.
Yeah, there you go.
Because in the black world, what we're used to having is Honda expense with the Mercedes expense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like we get the Honda experience, the Honda Accord, which I'm not knocking Honda Accord, because it's a quality car, but we're paying above what we're getting.
Yes.
And I said, yo, how do I flip that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do you get the Bentley experience,
Yes.
but you're only paying a Mercedes C-Class? You ain't paying Mercedes S550.
Right.
It's different. Yeah.
You're paying a Mercedes C.
Yeah.
You're not gonna pay Honda. You're not even gonna pay a Lexus, right? And I think for us, when I see this, I'm like, okay, I see it. Now I gotta execute it. And when I'm executing it, it sucks because I gotta be the one to spend the money.
In the moment. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the reward, because I saw an opportunity.
Yeah.
When everyone else would complain and run, I'm like, oh no, it's not. No, I'm like, okay, but wait, if I was to do that, somebody else is gonna do it down the road.
Yep.
And they're gonna make a lot of money doing it.
Yep.
So someone else is gonna buy that house. Why not you buy that house? Someone else is gonna make that investment. Why not you buy that investment? Someone else is gonna do this. Why not you do this? Right? And so my whole thing is, man, y'all, we are going to be keeping Coalition Group on here every single month. And that's what I'm trying to do, is keep people on here who can help change your life every single month. I don't need brand new guests on this show, because I don't trust half of them. I don't trust half of these financial advisors, bro. I'm about to start my own financial coaching institute.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of these financial advisors are only selling products that they don't even use themselves because they make money off of it.
Yeah.
So I'm about to get rid of all that. I'm about to start my own financial coach masterclass to where I teach people how to build financial brands like me so they can mentor y'all. And then connect you with Coalition Group, connect you with the right insurance company like Ethos, connect you with these different brands that will get you the right products and the right services and the right help to get you into the homes that you need and get you into the lifestyle. So be looking out for that, because I'm like, man, we gotta change the game. And so I'm done bringing on people just to be having people on my show. No, if they're not bringing value, we ain't bringing them on. And Coalition Group, they bring value. So check them out inside the show description. We're also going to link the last show that we did. Very, it was a lot of great information about all the programs you should be looking into. Because at the beginning of today's show, what did we talk about? How there's an uptick in the African American. We're leading in first-time home buyers. Why are we doing that? Because of the programs they taught us on the last show. So there's programs out there that's going to help you with. There's one program where you bring NACA. You bring nothing to the table.
Yeah. Zero.
It's 100% financing, right? And so how do you navigate in that? I even want to do like a NACA seminar, because I hear there's a lot of things you have to do in NACA. So it's like, how do we help our people, right, go to them with everything already done?
Yeah.
It's the only way to be successful with it.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, if not, I hear if you don't do it right, it could cost you time.
Yeah.
It can take you a year in that program.
Yeah.
So it's like for us, how do we cut that time in half for them?
Yeah.
By teaching them that, right?
Yep.
So if you all would like us to do like a webinar or a program or a show or, well, I don't know, whatever it is about NACA and how to really utilize that the correct way, what the programs and the things you may need before you even go apply, yo, drop it in the comments. And you know what? Put teach me. Just put teach. Just put teach in the comment section. And we're gonna do that, man. But y'all, every single month, and y'all, they're coming back. What do y'all want to talk about? Put in the comments. Let us know. And I have my team go through the comments. I don't read comments anymore because y'all be pissing me off sometimes. So I don't read it. I have my team go through and read them, and we can get with them and say, hey, they want to learn about this. They want to talk about this. And I promise y'all, it'll be amazing. All right, y'all. So check out the comment section, not comment section. Check out the show description for all the information, all the programs, and a link to the last show that will give you all the programs. It's a 30-minute show just walking through every single program. And we'll see you on the next show. Peace out.